There are some games that you can play over and over again and never tire of. They just tick all the right boxes and end up being a game you default to because it's your comfort zone and you already know how much you love the game.
For me, those kinds of games include Skyrim, Mass Effect, Fallout, the Halo series, Gears of War, and Pokemon. And Heather's comfort zone games include the likes of Ni no Kuni, Ratchet and Clank, the Tales of series, and God of War. And there are many other games that we both enjoy replaying, such as Horizon, Crash Bandicoot, and Spyro.
On the flip side, there are games that, even though we greatly enjoy playing them, seem to lack a certain X factor that makes them replayable. The reason for this can vary. The game might take a heavy emotional toll on the player, be too long, difficult, large, grindy, forgettable, or too eclectic. The game could feel inferior to other games in the same series, or it could simply not have the kind of gameplay that keeps us coming back for more.
Whatever the reason behind it, there are some games that we just don't revisit and feel no desire to. So today we would like to discuss our top picks of games that we enjoyed but never gave a second playthrough. Here's 5 games that we only play once.
There are many different reasons why individuals might not want to replay Final Fantasy XV. The game was certainly met with mixed reviews from the gaming community due to its tone, seemingly empty world, endless filler side quests, questionable combat, and the fact that it simply felt half-baked. If you are an existing fan of Final Fantasy, then you likely expected more from the series, and the game might have felt significantly inferior to previous installments with underdeveloped characters and a storyline that felt lacking in depth. The fact that the car spends a lot of time on rails also doesn't increase its replayability and is a surprising mechanic considering that the game was released in 2016, at a time when developers were more capable of creating better, more engaging vehicle control. You can customise the car to get it to be more of a manual drive and take it off-road, but the questline to be able to do this is long-winded and boring. It feels like this is something we should have been granted straight away to give us much more freedom. The Imperials constantly raining down on you all the time is also frustrating. Whenever you hear Prompto say Imperials above us, it feels like such a pain in the backside.
Imperials above us! Imperials above us! Imperials above us!
I know some people have a lot of issues with this game, and although I did only play it once, I still really enjoyed the relaxing bromance road trip feel. I liked the group dynamic, and after listening to the group's inane chit-chat for so many hours, I truly began caring about the character's fate. Just talking about this game is actually making me want to give it another go, but I know I won't. The most fun parts of this game were, for me, exploring Altissia, which was gorgeous, gaining and controlling the royal vessel, and switching to Prompto in battle and shooting enemies with his guns. I also genuinely enjoyed the fishing element in this game, which is normally an aspect I don't care for, but I will certainly not play this game again. It's difficult to explain why. I just have no desire, especially when there are other installments in the Final Fantasy series that wipe the floor with 15. Final Fantasy 15 just feels unfinished, like they wanted to create something amazing but lacked the time to implement the special aspects, and settled for functionality above all else.
I'm willing to take full responsibility for the horrible events of the last 24 hours, but...
Me and Heather both love the thrill ride that is Doom. We love turning off our brains and engaging in what we can only be described as balls-to-the-wall carnage. Doom is fast-paced, loud, chaotic. I got possessed by a cockney. Doom is fast-paced, loud, chaotic, hardcore violence, and we love it. Naturally, when I saw Doom Eternal on Game Pass, I decided to give it a go, expecting the same hardcore, fast-paced, mindless, chaotic violence. I definitely got the hardcore, fast-paced, chaotic violence, but the mindless part I did not. One of the great things about Doom is not having to think too much. You pick up guns and kill, kill, kill. The main thing that made Doom Eternal a one-time play experience for me was the platforming elements and environmental puzzles. I do not play Doom to figure out how to traverse the environment, which was rarely obvious, solve puzzles, or hang around a base camp. Doom doesn't need those things. What this game needs is couch co-op, so me and Heather can go on a rampage together, but that's a whole other issue. Admittedly, the new gadgets that help you get around are quite impressive and fun sometimes, and if executed correctly could have been a great additional element to Doom, but it just felt overcomplicated and frustrating. I felt the same way about the base camp. I didn't like the layout and how you unlock things, but it could have been great. The new kill animations for glory kills were excellent and managed to retain and improve upon the gore of Doom. We see the return of some of the classic kill animations as well as classic weapons, and some new ones along with new enemies and nail-biting arenas of carnage. I mean, this game starts with your default weapon being the shotgun, no pissy little pistol in this game. But I just didn't have as much fun as I did in Doom 2016, which has kept me coming back for more, even as recently as this year.
Tales of Arise is the latest instalment in the Tales of series, and being a fan of Berseria, Zestiria and Vesperia, I was very excited to play it. I paid full price on the day of release and soon experienced minor buyer's remorse. There is a lot to like about this game, and I was initially blown away by the graphics, the flashy combat, the adorable hootle, the ability to swim and the sleek looking skits. I've also featured this game on my list of the best JRPGs Part 2 because there is a lot to like, and it does represent a huge step forward for the Tales of series in a number of ways. But before I continue, one thing you need to know about previous Tales of games is how all of the characters are bursting with personality. The games have energy, passion, charm and whimsy with excellent voice acting. It's hard to describe if you haven't played them, but they definitely feel soulful. Tales of Arise ended up being the complete opposite. It did not feel like a Tales of game. Unfortunately, I found the characters in Tales of Arise to be extremely bland and boring. I just didn't care about them or find them interesting at all. There is a lot of dialogue and skits in Tales games, and if you love the characters and banter, then it never feels like a chore to sit through them all. But in Tales of Arise, there is an immense amount of dialogue, even for a Tales of game, and very long skits that you have to endure. Even the voice actors sound constantly bored and tired.
All this trouble we've caused might be the first excitement they've had in a while.
And the skits can drone on and on and on for no reason, and be seemingly endlessly stacked one after the other. The story itself left a lot to be desired, and I also felt that the game was a bit too grindy with boss battles that went on for far too long. I know it sounds like I'm completely bashing Tales of Arise, but believe it or not, I did genuinely enjoy my playthrough. Once I remapped the buttons to my liking, the combat was fantastic, and it was so fine-tuned, and performing the mystic arts felt very satisfying and impactful.
Look sharp! Lightning fighter ready!
The world itself was beautiful, with gorgeous graphics that are a huge leap forward for the series. I do recommend that people play this game if you haven't already, but I also recommend that you play some of the older Tales of games before Tales of Arise, so that you can appreciate the new mechanics that have been introduced in this game, and also see that Tales of Arise is far from being the best instalment in the series.
Now this next entry is technically cheating, as I've actually played this game twice, once on PS3 and once on PS4. This is definitely the odd one out, but I do consider The Last of Us to be a masterpiece and arguably the best game of the PS3, Xbox 360 era, and this will probably be the shortest entry on the list. The storytelling in The Last of Us is phenomenal, the characters feel real and the world is incredibly detailed, as we have come to expect from Naughty Dog since they decided they no longer wanted to make cute but bastard hard platformers. But the reason this game is on this list is because of just how emotionally draining the game can be. If you've ever played the game, then you know. The intro alone is a gut punch that few gamers can ever recover from, even more so if you're a parent, even if it sets the tone perfectly. But going along with Joel and Ellie on their journey has few moments of levity, with the obvious shout out to the giraffe scene and of course the porno mag joke in the car. But trying to sit through this game for hours seems practically impossible because I always feel like I need to take a walk or get some air when the heavier moments hit. And they do always hit.
It's all your fault! Henry, no.
I get why in the context of the story, and this is by no means a criticism of the game, just the way the game gels with me as a person. And I know I'm in the minority because this game has been re-released for both the PS4 and PS5, so there must be people out there who can play this game the same way I can just pop on Skyrim, Mass Effect or any of the other games I can just mindlessly play. The Last of Us is a fantastic game and I highly recommend you play it once if you haven't already, but for me, I highly doubt I'll return to this game in the future.
It's okay. It's okay. Joel. It's okay.
Our number one pick is Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a fantastic game, there is no denying that. Excellent character building, interesting politics, very large areas to explore, likeable characters, except Sarah, lots of collectibles and more.
This entry hurts me greatly, as I have been a fan of BioWare since way back in the mid-2000s when I first played KOTOR, Jade Empire and of course Mass Effect. BioWare used to be my favourite game company, but games like Inquisition and Mass Effect Andromeda have sadly seen them fall from grace in my eyes. I'm sure there are people out there that adore this game and have played it many times, but despite these positive aspects, the game lacks a replayability factor for us. This could be due to the mundane combat, which doesn't feel very engaging outside the execution of special abilities and defeating dragons.
It could be because you have to walk everywhere since the mounts are kinda useless, which sounds fine until you realise how much large open space you have to traverse on foot. It could be the extremely forgettable villain, or the monotony of endless dialogue and politics. You would think that a game that incorporates a decisions have consequences mechanic would be innately replayable, but for some reason Dragon Age Inquisition falls short in this regard.
Personally, I think it's the gameplay itself that makes me not want to replay the game. It simply doesn't feel engaging at all. You are pretty much walking around, speaking to people, collecting things and pressing the same combat buttons over and over and over again.
I tried to play this game again recently, but halfway through the first area I just thought, meh. There's nothing wrong with this game, it's just that we own or have access to loads of games that seem much more exciting and pull you in for a second, third or even more playthroughs.
One thing I really want to highlight is the dragons. Unlike the dragons in Skyrim which fly around and then land for you to punch in the face, these dragons will make you sweat, and despite our gripes about the combat gameplay, the fights with the dragons is easily the best part of this game. Like all the entries on this list, we don't hate or dislike this game, we just couldn't get into it. The character customization is great, and the voice acting is great, but we just couldn't play this game again.
So, there we have it. There's 5 games that we only played once. Feel free to tell us how wrong we are about the choices in this video, and what games you can or have only played once and why.
2023 is looking like a good year for gaming, with some epic looking games on the horizon, such as Hogwarts Legacy, Starfield and Forspoken, and many more. So let's hope that they have that replayability factor we are looking for.
I've been Heather.
And I've been Craig.
This has been Amalgamingle, and thanks for watching.